Hey everyone, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today we're going to be unboxing Wild West Exodus Showdown at Retribution 2-player starter set. So Wild West Exodus is an interesting looking game. Now I've never played it, but I was a fan of some of their other games that War Cradle Studios has, Dystopian Wars, and originally Dystopian Wars was Spartan Games and kind of had its own timeline, and then when this company combined, or they bought them out or whatever, they kind of combined the timelines. So now Wild West Exodus takes place in the Dystopian Wars universe, or vice versa, depending on how you go. So this is going to be new to me. I'm not an expert in this game, and as we go through this, you're going to just get my honest opinion. Now I will say that War Cradle and On Tabletop sent me this review copy, so just keep that in mind. But as I tell everyone that I review with, I give an honest review, regardless of whether I spend my own money or it's sent as a review copy. So alright, so there you go. We have some cool looking Wild West steampunk things going on the cover here. Let's take a look at, well, if we look at the side here, we see part of the dystopian age, which is pretty cool. Checking out the back, we see what we get, and it looks like we get quite a bit here in Showdown at Retribution. We get the rules. Here we go. This model contains Nikolai Tesla, Union Bell, Carl Fredrickson, 9 UR31E Tesla bots, 2 Iron Eagle, 1 Gustav Eiffel, 1 Smash and Grab, 1 Emily Nogier, 3 Mono Cav Strider Calves, 2 Iron Horse, 1 Rulebook, 1 Campaign Guide, 1 Campaign Book, 2 Action Card Decks, 48 cards each, 2 Adventure Card Decks, 60 cards each, 1 Template, 2 tokens, 8 10-sided dice. So in here we can see an example of the models and everything else we get in here, which is kind of cool. And then this tells you here, which is I guess helpful for use with the Union and Enlightened. So I guess that's the two factions that are represented in the box. So let's go ahead and slide that out. It is a nice looking box. Okay. Well, this seemed to survive the trip over the pond pretty nicely. We have Action and Adventure card deck. Action and Adventure card deck. I'm assuming these are identical. They have the same barcode, so looks pretty good. Yep, looks like the same thing. Okay, we got some bases. These look like for bikes or cavalry or larger, smaller bases. 10-sided dice with some cool patterns. More 10-sided dice, so we got 8 of those. We have the plastic wrapped to protect it from getting scratched up, which is always a nice touch. I'm not one of those that has to have everything pristine in my game and put my cards in sleeves and all that. I don't mind a little wear and tear, but it is nice when they go the extra effort. So there's the quick start guide, the campaign, and the rule book. We'll take a closer look at that in a minute. Some tokens, condition tokens, for use with Dystopian Wars, Lost World Exodus, Wild West Exodus, and other dystopian age games. So that's interesting and smart on their part to have that cross-compatible. And it looks like most of this is going to be sweet, sweet miniatures. So here we have game aids, range rulers, or whatever. We're gonna go there. Looks like we've got some flight stands. We'll take a closer look at the plastic in a minute. But we've got 2 frames, 4 frames, 5, 6, 7, 8. And glad to see no pieces have busted free. So that's good. There's a little piece of the sprue. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so now we can take a little bit closer look at all this good stuff. And I do want to note too, as we're kind of going through here, this was noted to me as a early or prototype copy. So what you're seeing, how it's packed, might be different in a copy that you pick up in the store, but the contents should all be the same. So let's take a look at the quick start guide real quick, because I believe this has, yep, this has our assembly. Now all of these are plastic, which is nice. You've got Gustav Eiffel. So we do have kind of like a guy sitting in a chair with the spider legs. So that's very reminiscent of the Wild Wild West movie with Will Smith, if you remember that. Interesting. Emily Nuguire, I don't know how to pronounce that. Smash and grab. It's like he's got 2 heads. Nikola Tesla. I'm not going to look at all of these, but you know, you've got your assembly instructions. And it looks like you've got your sheets for how they play. Obviously, I don't know what all of that means yet, but we will find out. So, pretty cool. The rule book itself. So it looks like we jump right into the rules, and we get to terrain and terrain features and obstacles by page 36. So the rules look like they're the first 40 pages, and then there's some scenarios, common adventures they call them. So that's pretty cool. The rulebook is nice. It's in full color. I'm assuming this is the full rulebook. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. But very cool. Then obviously we had this little campaign book, Prelude to Retribution, some fluff. Campaign. I'm assuming this campaign is so that you can use just the contents of the box to play your campaign, which is always cool. It gives, I think, starter boxes, you know, extra play value if you can tell a story, an interesting and engaging story with the contents of the box. All right, let's take a look at some of the quality of the plastic. Now, if you're not familiar with my miniature game unboxings, I do like to assemble some of the models and show you as well. So I'm not just going to show you the sprues, but I will be building some of these and giving you my opinion on, you know, how the build process goes. Oh, that's pretty cool. For being the Wild West, it certainly seems like there's a lot of motorcycles, but hey, motorcycles are the new horse, I guess, when you add steam. So those 2 sprues look identical. That sprue looks identical. And you've got some good detail there. You've got 3 identical sprues of that. Then these 2 look unique, so they probably have your characters. Well, actually, that looks like another one of those, so there's 4 of those. This is the unique one. There you can see a character. Very cool. Alright, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and digest some of this off camera, throw together some of these models, and then I'll come back and show you some assembled models and talk about the assembly process, any hiccups I ran into, and how that all goes. Alright, for you, it'll just be a second. For me, off to the work table. Alright, so I've spent some time building up some of the models. I did not build all the models in the box set, but I tried to build a little bit of each kind, and the heroes. So overall, the build was pretty straightforward. There wasn't anything that was too complex. I think there were some issues with the instructions in my prototype copy that I received, but nothing that you can't figure out. Instruction wise, it's basically like an exploded diagram of how to build them, and you just have to be careful for some of these guys, the order that you put the pieces on, but just dry fitting them before you glue them, making sure the pieces go on, works well. So there is one of the things I really like about this set and this setting is the kind of the variety and just weirdness of everything that we're getting here. So for example, you have a pretty standard, cowboy looking steampunk guy with a Iron Man fist and a cool gun, to Nikolai Tesla, who is mounted on streams of electricity. It'll be interesting painting him. This was one of the things where the instructions weren't quite clear, but it's just electricity holding him up, so I pretty much glued it down in any spot that looked like it would hold him up. So, and it looks like he's going to be pretty solid there. There were really cool, whimsical, if you will, like this half man sitting in the spider chair. You have kind of these weird zombies driving a monowheel, or the same basic model makes this guy as well, which doesn't look like he has any ranged guns, but still looks kind of scary if he's chomping towards you. And then so you have the kind of those weird cool things, and you have some more conventional things like jet bikes. I think these are, one of these is the Iron Eagle, and one of them is the Construct Cavalry. This one is the Construct Cavalry guy. Iron Horse, I think they're called, and the Iron Eagle for the Union, which has one of the robots. But again, overall, they're pretty good. These are the Tesla bots. They kind of remind me a little bit of the putting together the battle droids for Star Wars Legion. They are somewhat posable, particularly the arms. So you can glue them together, because you get 3 on a frame and you get 3 frames of them, so you can mix them up. I only built guns on these guys, but you can also put shield and baton on there as well. So overall, very cool. So as far as design and aesthetic goes, I really like them. Build quality, it's somewhere between, it's not quite up to Games Workshop level construction, but Games Workshop's been at that game for a lot longer. Some of the construction doesn't quite have like a peg that fits into a slot completely, and you have to slide it around till it it kind of locks in. But eventually it will lock in. It is well thought out in that regard, but it's not obvious sometimes exactly where it is. But overall, pretty good. Detail, again, is really good. And I'm looking forward to getting some paint on these guys. So there you go. That's a look at the constructed, some of the constructed miniatures. Again, I really like them. So that's a look at the Wild West Exodus quick start box, or starter box. Overall, pretty cool stuff. I'm looking forward to sitting down and digesting the rules and getting some paint on these guys, and then bringing you some more content. But for right now, there you go. That's a look at the starter box for Wild West Exodus. Pretty cool game. Check it out. You can look at their website in the video description below. As always, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.